Self-Consecration, Section 4. Concentration is indeed the first condition of any yoga, but it is an all-receiving concentration that is the very nature of the integral yoga. A separate strong fixing of the thought, of the emotion, or of the will on a single idea, object, state, inner movement, or principle is no doubt a frequent need here also. But this is only a subsidiary, helpful process. A wide, massive opening, harmonized concentration of the whole being in all its parts and through all its power upon the one who is the all is the larger action of this yoga, without which it cannot achieve its purpose. For it is the consciousness that rests in the one and that acts in the all to which we aspire. It is this that we seek to impose on every element of our being and on every movement of our nature. This wide and concentrated totality is the essential character of the sadhana, and its character must determine its practice. But even though the concentration of all, the being on the divine, is the character of the yoga, yet is our being too complex a thing to be taken up easily and at once, as we were taking up the world in a pair of hands and set in its entirety to a single task. Man, in his effort at self-transcendence, has usually to seize on some one spring or some powerful leverage in the complicated mission that his nature is. This spring or lever he touches in preference to other and uses it to set the mission in motion towards the end that he has in view. In his choice, it is always nature itself that should be his guide, but here it must be nature at her highest and widest in him, not at her lowest or in some limiting moment. In her lower vital activities, it is desire that nature takes as her most powerful leverage. But the distinct character of a man is that he is a mental being, not merely vital creature. As he can use his thinking mind and will to restrain and correct his life impulses, so too he can bring in the action of a still higher luminous mentality aided by the deeper soul in him, the psychic being, and supersede by these greater and purer motive powers the domination of the vital and sensational force that we call desire. He can entirely master or pursue it and offer it up for transformation to its divine master. This higher mentality and this deeper soul, the psychic element in man, are the true grappling hooks by which the divine can lay hold upon his nature. The higher mind in man is something other, loftier, purer, vaster, more powerful than the reason or logical intelligence. The animal is a vital and sensational being. Man, it is said, is distinguished from the animal by possession of reason. But that is a very summary, a very imperfect and misleading account of the matter. For reason is only a particular and limited utilitarian and instrumental activity that proceeds from something much greater than itself, from a power that dwells in an ether more luminous, wider, illimitable. The true and ultimate, as distinguished from the immediate or intermediate importance of our observing, reasoning, enquiring, judging intelligence, is that it prepares a human being for the right reception and the right action of a light from above, which must progressively replace in him the obscure light from below that guides the animal. The latter also has a rudimentary reason, a kind of thought, a soul, a will, and keen emotions, even though less developed. Its psychology is yet the same in kind as man's. But all these capacities in the animal are automatically moved and strictly limited, almost even constituted by the lower nervous being. All animal perceptions, sensibilities, activities are ruled by nervous and vital instincts, cravings, needs, satisfactions, of which the nexus is the life impulse and vital desire. Man too is bound, but less bound, to this automatism of the vital nature. Man can bring an enlightened will, an enlightened thought, an enlightened emotion to the difficult work of his self-development. He can more and more subject to these more conscious and reflecting guides the inferior function of desire. In proportion as he can thus master and enlighten his lower self, he is man and no longer an animal. When he can begin to replace desire altogether by a still greater enlightened thought and sight and will in touch with the infinite, consciously subject to a diviner will than his own, linked to a more universal and transcendent knowledge, he has commenced the ascent towards the Superman. He is on his upward march towards the divine. It is then in the highest mind of thought and light and will, or it is in the inner heart of deepest feeling and emotion that we must first center our consciousness. In either of them, or if we are capable in both together, and use that as our leverage to lift the nature only towards the divine. The concentration of an enlightened thought, will, and heart turned in unison towards one vast goal of our knowledge, one luminous and infinite source of our action, one imperishable object of our emotion is the starting point of the yoga. And the object of our seeking must be the very fount of the light which is growing in us, the very origin of the force which we are calling to move our members. Our one objective must be the divine himself, to whom, knowingly or unknowingly, something always aspire in our secret nature. There must be a large, many-sided yet single concentration of the thought on the idea, the perception, the vision, the awakening touch, the soul's realization of the one divine. There must be a flaming concentration of the heart on the seeking of the all and eternal, and when once we have found him, a deep plunging and immersion in the possession and ecstasy of the all beautiful. There must be a strong and immovable concentration of the will on the attainment and fulfillment of all that the divine is, and a free and plastic opening of it to all that he indeed to manifest in us. This is the triple way of yoga.